There's a man who has tried to quit smoking 7 times in the last 4 years, but has failed every time.
7 times. That's a lot of trying.
And every single time, he's back to a full pack a day in under 2 weeks. Not 2 months, 2 weeks.
Okay, so what's he doing wrong? Is he just not trying hard enough?
That's the thing. He's trying harder than almost anyone I've heard of. Cold turkey, willpower, throwing out every pack in the house. He's doing everything people tell you to do.
So if he's doing everything right, why does it keep falling apart?
Because David was using the wrong method from day one. You can't just wake up one morning and quit everything, completely all at once. There's a Japanese method for changing yourself that's so small your own brain doesn't even notice it's happening.
Okay, now I need to know what that actually looks like.
That's exactly what we're getting into.
So tell me about David. What's he like?
30. Software engineer. Lives in Chicago. At work, the guy's a machine. Never misses a deadline. Reviews code more carefully than anyone else on the team. His manager literally calls him the most disciplined person there.
Okay, so he's not someone who lacks willpower.
Not at all, which is what makes this weird. Open his kitchen drawer at home and it's full of half-used nicotine patches. 6 different quit smoking apps on his phone. Downloaded, tried for a week, deleted, downloaded again.
So the discipline's there. It's just not landing on this one thing.
Exactly, and that's the part that doesn't add up. If he's this disciplined everywhere else, why does this one thing keep beating him?
All right, walk me through attempt number 7.
Throws out the cigarettes, the patches, downloads yet another tracker app, tells himself, out loud this time, this one's different.
Day 1. How's it feel?
Incredible. 0 cigarettes. 0 cravings he can't push through. Feels like winning.
And the plan for when things get hard?
There isn't one. 0. Forever. Starting now. No backup plan for a bad day. Because in his head there isn't supposed to be a bad day.
That's already setting up a problem.
It is, and if any of this sounds like someone you know, maybe even yourself, that's kind of the whole reason we're making this video. Stick around, because David's story's about to make a lot more sense.
Okay, what happens on day 19?
Production issue at work. His manager calls at 9 p.m. Needs a fix, now. David's out on the office balcony, supposedly just getting air.
But it's not really about the air.
Hands shaking, cold sweat, and it's not cold outside. A coworker's out there too, cigarette already lit, and David tells himself, just one, to calm down, then he's done again.
And?
He takes it. That night, he deletes the tracker app.
Why delete it? Isn't that the thing that's supposed to help him?
Because the counter reset to 0, and staring at 0 after 19 days felt worse than not tracking at all.
So round 7 just ends there?
Not quite. 2 weeks later, he's not back to a full pack, but he's telling himself something new. Just weekends. Like a compromise with himself.
That's not staying just weekends.
It doesn't. Within a month, weekends quietly creep into Friday, then Thursday. One night, midnight on a Wednesday, he's standing outside a convenience store telling himself, close enough to the weekend.
Rough.
His wife notices the smell on his jacket. She's pregnant right now, so it's not exactly a small thing to let slide. She just asks him straight, I thought you quit.
That lands different when she's carrying your kid.
It does. A few days later, his dad calls too, just checking in. You still coughing? Thought you said you were quitting again.
No malice in it.
None, which somehow makes it land harder. David hangs up, sits there staring at a pack on the table, doesn't answer right away.
And in that moment?
He does the math for the first time. 7 attempts. Something like 700 days of trying, total, across 4 years. Never once past day 45.
Never even close to a real habit-breaking window.
Never close. That's the night he can't sleep, obviously, and stumbles onto something about a Japanese philosophy called Kaizen.
and something in it actually lands?
One line stops him cold. You don't break a habit, you outgrow it. 1 gram at a time.
1 gram? That sounds too small to matter.
Stick with it, because the reason it works is better than the line itself. Quit something completely, overnight, and you leave this huge hole where the habit used to sit. Time, ritual, a way of handling stress. Your brain needs to fill that hole immediately.
And it fills it with the old habit, because that's the easiest path back.
Every time. You don't break a habit, you outgrow it, 1 gram at a time, because the hole never gets big enough to demand filling in the first place.
Where does this Kaizen idea even come from?
Early 1950s, Japan. The country's industrial base is basically rubble after the war. Made in Japan, at that point, is shorthand for cheap, poorly made goods. Toy trinkets, tin trays, stuff that falls apart in a month.
Not exactly Toyota's reputation now.
Not even close. An American consultant named W. Edwards Deming gets invited over to teach Japanese engineers. He'd actually pitched this same philosophy to American manufacturers first, and they weren't interested. Too slow, too unglamorous, no payoff on next quarter's numbers.
So, America passed on it?
America passed. Japan didn't have the luxury of passing on anything, and instead of some massive factory overhaul, Deming teaches one deceptively simple rule.
Which is?
Every worker, at every station, has the right and the responsibility to suggest one small improvement, every day. Not a manager, not an engineer with a degree, the guy tightening bolts on the floor.
One suggestion, per person, per day.
That's it. At Toyota, this becomes the and-on cord, a literal cord above every station on the line. Any worker who spots a problem, even a small one, can pull it and stop the entire line.
One person can stop the whole line? That sounds like chaos waiting to happen.
You'd think so, but the logic is, a small problem caught today is a 1% fix. Ignored for 6 months, it becomes a massive recall. They'd rather eat the tiny cost constantly than the giant one occasionally.
So the interruption is the whole point, not a flaw in the system.
It's the engine of the system. Within 3 decades, Made in Japan flips completely. Becomes shorthand for reliability, especially in cars.
Wait, an entire national reputation flipped because of tiny daily suggestions and a stop cord?
That's the whole mechanism. Nothing bigger hiding behind it.
So how does that connect to one guy trying to quit smoking in Chicago?
Same exact principle, different scale. Factory-level Kaizen is a company fixing one tiny process, pulling the cord the second something's off. Personal Kaizen is one person fixing one tiny behavior, stopping the second something's off, instead of letting a bad night turn into a bad month.
So it's the same idea whether you're a car company or one guy trying to quit smoking.
Exactly the same idea. Small correction, caught early, beats total collapse caught late.
So what's David's version of 1 gram?
Instead of 0 forever, he picks one small target. Push his first cigarette of the day back 10 minutes from whatever his old habit was.
That's it? 10 minutes?
That's it. First week he doesn't hit 0, but he drops 2 cigarettes a day. Not huge. But for the first time in 7 tries, the number's moving the right direction, instead of crashing back to where it started.
Progress, instead of another collapse.
You don't break a habit, you outgrow it, 1 gram at a time, and for once, the gram actually held.
What's next for him?
A notebook, 1 line every night, just the number of cigarettes that day. No judgment attached, just the number.
Just tracking, nothing more.
Just tracking. After 3 weeks, it's actually working. He's down to a handful a day, steady, no crashes. Then one afternoon, his whole team gets called into his manager's office. Something serious made it into production, the kind that gets escalated, and everyone in that room gets reamed out for it.
Rough day.
Rough day. He steps outside with a coworker afterward, just to breathe for a second. Coworker lights up, offers him one. Says, "Stressful day, right?" One more today isn't going to hurt anything.
And that logic sounds so reasonable in the moment.
It always does. David takes it, smokes it right there on the sidewalk.
After 3 weeks of actual progress.
After 3 weeks of actual progress, but that night, sitting down to write the number like always, it hits different this time.
Why different?
Because his wife's pregnant, due in a few months. Every night now, she's a few feet away from whatever's on his breath, his clothes. He's not just picturing himself anymore when he looks at that number. He's picturing her. And the kid.
That's a heavier kind of guilt than just breaking a streak.
Much heavier. And here's where the previous 6 attempts would have fully unraveled. One slip, well, I already broke it, and the whole thing collapses for weeks.
But not this time.
Not this time, because he'd picked up one more rule alongside the main one. Never miss twice. He writes the honest number down, doesn't hide it, doesn't punish himself either. Next morning, he's back exactly where he left off.
No dramatic reset. No throwing out the notebook.
None of that. Yesterday happened, today's a new line. 6 weeks in, he's gone from 20 cigarettes a day down to 6. Not 0, but 6. And holding, further than any of the previous 7 attempts ever got.
6 from 20. Okay, give me something bigger than a notebook, because that feels almost too small.
Then let's talk about Jerry Seinfeld.
The comedian?
The comedian. A young comic once asked him how to get funnier faster, how to build a steady stream of new material instead of just waiting around for inspiration. Seinfeld didn't hand him a writing formula. He handed him a wall calendar and a red marker.
That's the whole advice?
The whole advice. Write one new joke every day. Doesn't matter if it's good. Doesn't matter if it's terrible or never gets performed once. Write it, mark a big red X on the calendar.
And the actual trick is?
After a few days, you've got a little chain of X's across the calendar. Your only job at that point isn't to write something great. It's to not break the chain.
So it's not about being funny. It's about not skipping a day.
Not skipping a day. The calendar doesn't care if the joke was good. It only tracks whether you showed up. That removes the pressure of quality from the daily task entirely, which is exactly what makes it last years instead of weeks.
So the goal quietly shifts from write something good to just don't be the one who breaks it.
You don't break a habit. You outgrow it, 1 gram at a time, and nobody ever demanded the joke be good. Just present.
Wait, one of the most successful comedians alive built his whole work ethic on a calendar and a red pen?
That's it. That's the whole system.
And David, who's never heard this story in his life, is basically running his own version of it every night in that notebook.
Same mechanism exactly. Different pen, different habit, same red X. Just measuring the absence of something instead of the presence of it.
So where's he take it from here?
A new gram. He used to smoke right after dinner, every night, no exceptions. Basically a ritual. So he keeps the ritual, changes what fills it. Tea instead of a cigarette.
Same routine, different substance.
Same shape, different filling. First time in years, he sits through an entire dinner with his wife, without stepping outside halfway through.
That's a real shift, especially with the baby on the way.
You don't break a habit, you outgrow it, 1 gram at a time, and he's stopped waiting for some magic quit day. He's just asking if today was a little less than yesterday. 2 months in, he's down to 2 or 3 a day. Feels, for the first time in 4 years, like this might actually be the one that sticks.
I feel like that confidence is exactly where this story's about to get tested.
You'd be right, because a few weeks later, his wife goes into labor almost 6 weeks early.
Wait, that's not part of the plan at all.
Not even close. Complications on top of it. The baby needs to spend 9 days in the NICU. David's living in a hospital chair, barely sleeping, running on vending machine coffee, watching monitors he doesn't fully understand beep through the night.
That's about as much stress as a person can be handed at once.
About as much as it gets. 3rd night in that chair, Unable to sleep, unable to do anything useful, he walks down to the parking garage at 2 a.m. and buys a full pack from a gas station across the street.
After 2 months of 2 or 3 a day,
Smokes 4 in a row, standing in that garage, doesn't write a single one down that night, doesn't even open the notebook, just leaves it in the hospital bag, untouched.
that's not a slip anymore. That's a full relapse.
It feels like one to him, too. Next few days, he's back to nearly a full pack, hiding it from his wife on top of everything else going on, telling himself, "Not now, I can't deal with quitting, and this at the same time."
So the whole 4 years of pattern is right there again.
Exactly the same shape as attempt number 7, day 19, all over again. Except this time, there's a 9-day-old baby in an incubator down the hall.
So what actually breaks that spiral this time?
Day 7 in the NICU. A nurse who's been checking on the baby every few hours notices David outside, smell on his jacket, exhausted, clearly beating himself up about something. She's seen 100 fathers go through exactly this. Says something simple. You're allowed to have a hard week. You're not allowed to let a hard week convince you the whole thing was pointless.
That's a strange thing to hear from a nurse.
She'd probably say she's said some version of it to 50 different parents in that exact hallway. But it lands on David like nobody's ever said it to him before. He goes back to the chair, finally opens the notebook for the first time in 5 days, and just writes the honest number. 4. No excuse next to it.
No dramatic reset, no throwing away the notebook.
None of that. Just the number, and the next morning, back to the 10-minute delay rule, same as day 1 of this whole attempt. Baby comes home 9 days later, stable, healthy. David's back down to 3 a day within 2 weeks of that.
So the setback didn't actually undo 6 weeks of progress. It got absorbed into it.
That's the part that finally convinces him this is different from the other 6 tries. Every other attempt, 1 bad week was the whole story, the ending. This time, a genuinely brutal week is just 1 bad line in a much longer notebook.
You don't break a habit, you outgrow it, 1 gram at a time. But this time, that means something a little different than it did in week 1.
Exactly. In week 1, it meant making the target small enough to survive a normal Tuesday. Now it means the system's supposed to survive an actually terrible week 2, not just look good on the easy ones.
3 months after that, where's he at?
20 a day down to 1. And for the first time across 7, now really 8 if you count the version that survived the NICU, the number never snaps back up. It just holds, low and steady.
1 cigarette. That's the part people are going to want proof behind.
Fair. That notebook habit, writing the number down every night with 0 judgment, there's real research behind that.
What kind?
Behavioral scientists have studied self-monitoring in recovery for years. The finding holds up across different addictive behaviors, not just smoking.
What's the actual finding?
Just tracking a behavior daily, even with 0 goal attached to reduce it, cuts the frequency of that behavior over time, purely from paying attention.
Just watching yourself do it changes how much you do it.
Exactly. There's a name for it. Reactivity. Observation itself changes the thing being observed.
And the other piece? Cold turkey versus gradual? Is there research on that too?
There is. Studies comparing the two consistently find higher relapse rates in people who quit abruptly.
Why's that?
Because the brain doesn't get time to adjust to the habit's absence before the old pathway gets triggered again by stress. And that's exactly what almost happened in that hospital garage. Acute stress, nowhere near his usual routine, and the old pathway fired instantly.
So even the relapse itself is basically a textbook case.
Almost exactly what the research would predict. The difference is what happened after. Slow and steady genuinely beats the dramatic all-or-nothing version. But recovering fast from a slip matters just as much as the slow build itself.
So how does David's story end?
About a year after that balcony night, he runs into the same coworker, the one who handed him the cigarette on day 19.
And?
Coworker offers him one out of habit, doesn't even think about it. David says no.
Just like that?
Just like that. Not gritting his teeth, not white-knuckling it, not silently counting to 10. The habit just isn't there anymore to fight against.
So what do you want people to actually take from this?
Whatever the habit is, smoking, drinking, procrastination, doesn't matter. You don't need to break it in one day. And when a genuinely terrible week hits, because it will, that doesn't mean the whole thing failed.
You just need to make it a little smaller than yesterday and pick the notebook back up the next morning.
If you want the rest of this series, because this is just the first story about exactly this pattern, subscribe. We'll walk through the next one together.
You don't break a habit. You outgrow it, 1 gram at a time.
Turns out that really is the whole secret. Nothing bigger hiding behind it.
Honestly, I've started my own version of this. Used to check my phone the second I woke up. Now I just push it back 10 minutes.
10 minutes, Jamie? That's the big lifestyle change?
Don't judge the gram, Marcus.
Fair. I'm still on 4 different to-do list apps and haven't finished a single list on any of them.
1 gram at a time.
We'll see you in the next one.